don't believe the narrative.
Let's make a year of exploration, a year of celebration. Nothing to lose, everything to gain. Our opportunity, our moment. Let's march into finals.
The man in full flow, the Hurricane Higgins. He's about to pounce, gets there. Owens, the same goes marching in.
Picked up Philippo, spinning, brilliant angle. Maintains Philippo with one of the best.
Welcome to another episode, which is episode 3 of the Over the Ditch Sainters. I am joined by Danny and Sammy, way over in New Zealand. Is it the land of what is it? The land of the long white cloud or something? Is that what they call it?
Yes, that's right. That's the one. Yep.
There
That's
you
what
go.
they call it.
There you go. How
Some
are
people
you,
might say
lads?
the dumb white crowd, but that's just
How are
some
you,
of the
lads?
locals.
Had a
Yeah,
good
good,
weekend?
mate. Yeah, busy. Sammy's had a cricket tournament, and I worked and then watched a bit of Sammy's cricket tournament. So yeah, it was a good weekend.
Did they get the win over the old boys?
No, they got beat in the end, but still they look like we were going to get smoked, but brought it back and put in a good effort, Sammy?
Wish people could take catches, actually.
Yeah, a couple of
Yes.
three very bad drops off Sammy's bowling, which he was a bit disappointed about. A couple of fellas went on to make 50 and made the difference in the game. So that was bugger, eh?
Yeah.
There's an old saying, catches win matches, and there's that
Indeed.
famous sledge by Steve Waugh when he got dropped in a semi-final of the World Cup, and he just walked up and said to the guy dropped it, that just lost you the World Cup, and the rest is history.
Yes, indeed.
Well, let's get it rolling. Just before we go into semi-special delivery, which this week we've really had to scout out a few questions, so please, listeners, get in there and communicate with us, and we can make that segment so much better if we get that regular interaction. But I just got one small gripe, and it's sort of one of my Timmy's torments that I do on another podcast. Max King, seriously, what were you thinking? I won't assassinate you as a person, but your absolute brain fade may have or may not have cost St Kilda a win. That's all I'll say, because Danny's heard me in full throttle about it, and let's just say the Censor Kings would be really breathing up my neck if I really said what I'm thinking. But yeah, no, seriously, it just proves the importance of him to our team, in my opinion. But that leads into Sammy's special delivery, where I'm going to pose a question to Sammy. Do St Kilda still beat Essendon if we had a Max King on the forward line, and why or why not?
I think we would have a very big chance if we did still have him. Just having that very good set shot at goal, even just like if other people weren't kicking well, he kicks a couple set shots, good ones. He gets the whole team hyped up. A lot of kicking, everyone's got the skill, but it's confidence levels. So if one of your teammates get going, it gets your whole team going and hyped up, wanting to get the ball and wanting to kick goals, and most likely kicking better, and could have had a very different result of the game if he was there, I think.
Yeah, that's a fair call on it, mate. And the thing is, what does highlight this year so far with Max, including the practice matches, is obviously when he did his shoulder last year, he did a lot of goal kicking practice, because he has not shown any signs of yips so far.
That's been good, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's decent. That's right. We're going to go with the next one, Sammy.
So this one's from Jimmy. Do you think Ross the boss will be less cheerful at training this week and get a bit angry like he used to? Well, I can't really speak on it because I was very little when he was coaching for us. But I think in my experience in playing cricket, if you do have a bad game and your coach into next training lays into you about it, gives you a harder training, it makes you want to play better, just so you don't have to get that hard training again. But yeah, I think he could do, based on stuff that I've seen about him, and that can make a whole lot of difference in a team to want to play better. So
You
yeah,
can't mollycoddle them all the time, eh?
yeah, you can't be PC sort of like always be PC. You've got to be hard on the team sometimes. It's a men's sport. It's a contact sport. Yeah,
Played professional, so
yeah.
Well, there's a reason why the Attitude Era worked very well in professional wrestling. All right, and now we've got the PG era, and it doesn't work. So I think there's a time and a place, as you said, mate, for that sort of thing.
The second question got from Dennis. It's should Plugger and Stewie Lowe be our goal kicking coaches? I think obviously two very, very good kicks at goal, and having them in coaching, obviously we need it based on this last game against the Bombers. Just that confidence boost, having those two legends coach your team, I think it'll help the boys a lot, especially after this weekend. They were down every time they kicked the point. So yeah, I think it could help.
It'll never happen, but it'd be cool. It's a cool dream team.
Yeah.
It's a dream scenario, you know. So yeah,
It would be amazing. They're very great players,
and they might be able to help.
History.
They might be able to help with that mental approach to the goal kicking.
It's not always just the game; it's what you're thinking about. Because you never know; they could be thinking, "I'm going to miss this. I'm going to miss this" every time, and you can't think that it's going to mess you up. So yeah, it could help.
100%.
It helps a lot.
So you said Plugger, and who was the other one? I didn't quite catch it.
Lowy.
Oh, Lowy.
Oh, Buckets.
Yeah. Buckets. You know, I'll give you a smoky that would be handy on a set shot for coaching, and and people forget that he was a very good set shot within his kicking range, and that'd be the tip rat.
Yeah.
Very good set shot for a small forward.
Yeah, he was indeed. Yeah, I was quite fond of him as a player. Hey, Sammy.
Yeah.
He's one of those players, if you barrack for the other club, you hate him, you despise him.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I would struggle to like him if he wasn't a St Kilda footballer. I think he was that sort of player if he didn't play for you. But we do love you, Milne. Absolutely love you, mate. And who knows, one day you might answer our wishes and join us and have a chat. That would be great.
That'd be cool.
You are an absolute god, mate. And don't you forget it.
Best small forward that ever lace up the boots. Without a doubt for me.
Yeah, I'm the same. And in fact, my Carlton supporting friend on the podcast, Woody, he often says they go on about Eddie Betts, they go on about, Charlie Cameron, guys like that these days. But for him, it's Milne.
Yeah, good man. He's onto it then.
Yeah. And you know, there's probably only one guy that you could argue was a small forward that was better than him, and that's probably Lethal Lee in his later years when he was playing as a
but he was more of a he rated himself as a mid, not a small forward. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So when the man himself says I can't be put into that small forward category, he can't eat. Stephen Milne is the best.
Absolutely.
For me, ever lace up the boots.
Absolutely. All right. Just before we move into our highlights and lowlights, etc., like that, one thing that I will pose to Sammy, one little question. We got belted in the centre bounces, Sammy. All right. Do you think, in your opinion, the time has come for us to go with a second ruck? Because obviously fatigue, and that's probably played a factor in because the first half we were doing fine, and then the second half it went away. Maybe having two ruckmen on Marshall all day just was too much.
Yeah, I think with that, and also we know Marshall can kick a goal from a set shot. So when he's fatigued, he's not going to be able to kick that well. So we need another player in there that can support him. I know we've got Machito who gets in there sometimes, but against those big ruckmen, there's not much he can do. So I think it would help us a lot having someone to support Marshall so he can actually...
Maybe someone like Jack Hayes who isn't too far away from coming back. Can kick a goal.
Who kicked 2 goals, 1 for Sandringham again on the weekend. So...
did he? Yep.
Yep, so he's kicked a couple of goals. And talking about the ruck
that's actually stolen my buddy my bit for a little bit later, actually. That's a bit of a bugger, but that's all right. I'll still go with it.
Sorry, man. But also young Keeler. I think that's how you pronounce it. He took nearly mark of the year playing.
That was a decent mark. I did see that. Did you see that?
I reckon he's not far off neither. Like, it won't be this year, but I reckon the next season he might start playing a bit of senior football because he's starting to come along as a
That'd be
ruckman.
handy. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be handy.
But
Yeah,
anyway,
that was a decent grab, that.
yeah, no, it was a ripper. And Jeezy was happy about it, wasn't he? Like, did you see the grin on
Yes,
his
yeah.
face? It's
I reckon he
like,
should be, too.
I reckon he was looking like, where's the big screen? I want to see the replay, but unfortunately it was the VFL and there wasn't a
It
big
was a bit
screen.
like that, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll move in. I won't have too much to say on our normal segments because, to be honest, after knowing the result, because I went to the A League because I had to catch up with a mate, so I didn't get the opportunity to watch the game live. And with the result, I didn't know if my heart could handle it. So I've only seen dribs and drabs of the game, so I may not be much help in this part of the episode, but I'll certainly ask questions. Highlight for you, Sammy, from the Saints game.
I think this one's a bit of both. I think we were leading for most of the game, and it's a bit of a low light as well. But I think I'd seen a stat. We were leading for like 104 minutes of the game. So holding that up is very good, but should have held it for almost the whole game considering how well we were going at the start, first 3 quarters. But yeah, that's my highlight.
My highlight was seeing the likes of Seb Ross and Steele play so well. Seb Ross was everywhere. Steele was good. There were a few others, but just a couple of the old fellas standing up and doing their job. That was good for me, especially Seb Ross, because I won't say he goes missing at times, but sometimes he doesn't hold his form as well as he used to. So it's great to see him really put his hand up and have a good game. That was my highlight.
My highlight was we turned up and tossed a coin and played a game of football because I didn't see enough of it to have a highlight, to be honest. But look, moving forward, it could have been a lot worse, I suppose. We could have totally got if they had have utilised their dominance in the centre of the ground in the second half, we could have lost by a lot more. So I suppose that's a highlight that we only lost by under a kick. But low light. Sammy.
My low light is kicking for goal. I think we had 9 goals and 13 behinds. We had more shots at goal than them. If we kicked straight, we could have won pretty easily, I think. So yeah, that's my low light.
And
they sort of made our bad kicking look better later in the game when they missed a few. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But they were under a lot of pressure too when they missed. Ours were mainly set shots, but yeah, good point.
And you, Danny, what was your low light, mate?
Mine was just letting them in. We had that first quarter where we should have been 5 goals up. We should have been 5 or 6 goals up, and if we've kicked truly and put the hammer on, we wouldn't have given them that sniff. You know what I mean? So yeah, just letting them back into the game where we really should have put them away. And in that first quarter, even early in the second quarter, they made a bit of a fight back. But they should never have got that sniff because we were playing good enough footy in that first quarter that we should have just been 5 or 6 up, and they would have been like heads down, like we ended up. You know what I mean? For me, that was my low, letting them back in, and yeah, just a couple of late decisions too, which. Couple of late decisions the boys made. They're a bit disappointing when just if they had their time to rethink again, I'm sure they would have gone for a different handball or kicked them what they went for late in the last quarter. But yeah, that's about it for me for low light. There was lots of them though.
Yeah, I'm sure. Look, a low light for me is after my little bit of a rant at the start with a suspension happening to Max King. We now have Windy in a similar situation.
Yeah.
I do believe though his was what was it, a tackle, or what was it exactly that he did?
No, it was just old mate dove for the ball. He was sort of standing there, went to turn around. I think sort of went there, and old mate went into his legs, so it's
okay.
Made contact with his head. But it was one of those things you couldn't really do a lot about it. Careless, bloody high contact or whatever they call it. But I don't know. I didn't think there was much in it. There's not a lot the bloke could do about it, to be fair. But
and there was talk that Sebi Ross was in a bit of strife with one of his tackles because the guy ended up concussed. But I believe if you watch the actual replay of the tackle, he did all his best to try and protect the guy in the tackle.
Yeah. Same fella, actually, later in the game. Yeah, same fella who Wendy got in strife for. Can't
Well,
remember his name.
what does that tell you? That tells you that guy's obviously got a bloody clumsy side to him. So surely,
Yeah. Well, I said to Sam when we were watching it when he got that free kick for high contact from Wendy, I said to Sam, "Oh, he's just milked that. He's milked it." I thought he was, but obviously they seen more to it than that. But that is what it is. I just on lows too. I'd say this a lot, but geez, some of the bloody some of the comments you read on Facebook are pretty crazy. As I always say, the professional athletes, they don't go out there to play shit. They don't see Tim in the crowd and say, "Oh, Tim's here. I'm going to play shit today because he bagged me on Facebook." Fuck him. They're going out there to do their best. Sometimes they have a bad day, and as Sammy alluded to earlier, confidence is a huge thing. Confidence breeds confidence, but lack of confidence that becomes a bit of a thing within the unit if that happens. So we move on to next week against the Tigers, and you'll have something to cheer for, guys. I'm sure.
and just on that, bagging the players out on social media, like considering one of our players has had reported, and we know factual mental health issues to the extent that I believe it was, very close to trying to end it, sort of problems. To have some muppet, and that's all you are, is a muppet, absolutely bagging him on a post on one of the St Kilda groups that we're in,
Seen that.
and targeting the player. I'm sure the players, not every player would, but I'm sure some of the players probably are aware of what goes on in these groups, social media wise.
Yeah. Well, if not their families are aware, and your family don't want to be reading that either. You know what I mean? So
that's right. And to say that a player should have got delisted when we know very well he's very important to the team. Yeah,
that the bloke you're talking about, I've seen a few of his posts, and I actually honestly wonder whether he's a St Kilda supporter or whether he's someone in a couple of those groups who's just there. He's somehow snuck his way in under the radar, and he likes to come in and have little jibes and try and stir the pot a bit. I'm not sure. Maybe you should just stick to writing novels, but I wonder if he is actually a real St Kilda supporter.
Yeah, and look, I won't even give him the 15 seconds of fame and mention his name, but it was completely and utterly disgusting, I believe. And that's one thing that this channel that we've got here on YouTube will not do is, yes, I'm frustrated with what Max King did the week before and missed the game, but I'm not going to assassinate him as a person. We've got to
we all make mistakes as long as we learn from them.
That's right. And look, we're all passionate Saints supporters on here, and I'm sure 99.999 of our viewers and people that are on the follow our Facebook page, passionate St Kilda supporters, nothing's gained by assassinating the person. You can certainly be frustrated. You've got every right to be frustrated with some of the things they do, but that's just not on as far as I'm concerned. Enough said, enough airtime for that, I think. So our normal thing is, after the highs and lows, what do we bring into the next game? It's gather round in South Australia. We have the Tigers. The Tigers are coming off their first win of the season, and they did look quite good when they put away Sydney. What do we bring into the game, lads?
We can't just play a few quarters of footy. You can never. Teams can always come back from a deficit. I think we've known to be. I think it was a stat. We've got the biggest comeback in history from, I think it was the Saints that did it too in the last quarter. You can't just play up until the last quarter and then slow down or give up or think you've won. You've never won until the siren's gone off. So you can't just play a few quarters of footy and then think you've won it.
What 4 quarters of footy, mate?
Yeah, all 4 quarters of footy, going your hardest. You might be tired, but you're not just doing it for yourself. You're doing it for your team and the fans. Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
Sweet.
You, Danny?
What I was going to, I'll still say it. My big thing is 2 rucks. I think it's time. You can see poor old Rowe, mate, busting his ass all night, and then Machito going in there. and he is just a wee bit too small. He's athletic and he does a great job for his size. But if we can have two ruckmen, especially someone like what did I say, Jack Hayes, who can kick a few goals, so both of them can ruck and be good forward targets when they're there. You know, he can rest up and kick a goal or two, and vice versa. You know what I mean? That'd be nice. I think we're going to be a little bit lucky. Our defence is going to be a little bit lucky. Tigers have got a couple of big outs this week. What's their full forward's name? Big fellow. He's got to have surgery or something, so he's going to be out for a good while. Lynch and Baker, they're both out, I think. So they're two big outs from that. That'll help us. But I think just take bloody good attitude, work on what our mistakes we made last weekend, and we'll be all right. It's just confidence and attitude.
No
Tim,
worries.
what about you?
Well, look, can I just on what you're saying about the second ruck, using Owens as a backup ruckman, my opinion is that kid has got the potential to be the best player in the competition. Let's be honest. He has that X factor, and he's going to get belted from pillar to post playing in the ruck, and it's just put him at risk of getting injured. It's about time they bring in another ruckman. And it's got to be someone that can play forward. And I think you're on the money, and I know I'm on the same page. It's got to be a Jack Hayes, someone that can kick goals. But enough said. Moving into the gather round, look, what we do bring into the game is we can't play that poorly in a second half of football again, surely.
Yeah.
I think from what I can see, Bonner, what was it, a record 12 turnovers?
Yep.
Surely he doesn't do that again.
You would hope not.
Yeah.
He actually looks like he's going to be all right. He actually goes all right. It just, like I say, sometimes these things happen. Unfortunately, as long as they work on it.
Yeah. Well, the quote that Ross the boss last year, that was his mulligan for the year.
Yeah, good call.
I reckon. But saying that, surely with Max King back, that moving the ball into forward 50, they're smarter about it again, and they actually kick instead of bombing. Because I believe, and you guys would be able to reiterate this if it's accurate or not, I believe in the last quarter in particular, they were just bombing it into the 50 and hoping.
Yep. And they had the bigger back line, you know what I mean? So we were sort of there was one time I think it was buddy Higgins against some big giant bugger. Draper or someone, and they still just bombed in on top of his head, sort of. It's like, got to think about what we're doing, eh?
That's right. Now, which St Kilda player went down injured late in the game? There was one that went down late in the game, I believe. I just can't recall because I think it was a forward. Yeah, that's right. Caminiti ended up going off injured, didn't he? In the end, I believe.
Yep.
Right, now,
something.
Just a quick question, lads. Did Ross the boss pull the trigger too soon on the sub? Because was Cooper Sharman actually injured at all when he went off, or was that?
Just before 3/4 time, he had something. He might have, I don't know if he got winded or something. I can't quite recall. But he was holding his chest and stuff, so I don't know whether he was or not. But yeah, it would have been nice to have someone a bit taller down there who could be a target, take a mark, and kick a goal.
Yeah, because sorry, go.
Yeah, just with that though, I just want to give a mention to the young fellow who had his first game, who came on for him. He actually he didn't have a lot of opportunities to do a lot, but he was there and he was hunting, and I liked his attitude. So hopefully he'll get a few more games and be able to show what he's got.
Yep. And the thing is too, with the way the game was played in the last quarter, from what I'm understanding, Sharman was probably the most logical to jag a mark in a pack situation that we had in the team for the day. And I just wonder if Ross the boss pulled the trigger just a bit too soon. Maybe there was a reason, but on the radio, because I was listening to it on the radio, I was at the soccer game, and they said it was a strategic, a tactical.
Yeah, they did say that.
So that sort of makes me wonder, did he just pull the trigger just a fraction too soon.
Yeah, there's a chance of that. Or with the way it was going, probably could have dragged a small forward and put the young fella in there because he apparently like plays wing of defence, but he can snag a few goals. There was actually one time, it might have been his first handball. He went to go and he looked and then he seen I think it was Brad Hill, and he handballed to Brad Hill, but he probably had enough chance to have a bit of a snap to try and get it down there, or have a crack at goal.
Yep.
And he done the team thing, but I always wonder. I wonder if he had a crack. You know what I mean? But he done the team thing, done the right thing. I think Brad Hill might have turned it over just after that, but that is what it is,
Well,
he actually didn't have a bad game either.
Talking about some of the young players, just before we do move on a little bit, Collard kicked 4 goals and had 14 disposals for Sandy.
I saw
so
that.
if we're looking for goals, that might be an option. Hazy had 2 goals, 12 disposals. And how many hit-outs did he have? And he had 8 hit-outs by the look. So,
Yep.
Maybe the time is nigh. Maybe it's time to bring him in. The other ruck option had a good game too, which is Campbell. And in fact, he got 100 Dream Team points. But
right. That's good.
yeah, and he actually that was handballs that I was reading, not hit-outs. Sorry, hit-outs for Hayes was 2. Campbell had 24 hit-outs. And he scored 100 points on the Dream Team. The only thing is that Campbell doesn't bring, even though he kicked a goal, he's not a goal-kicking threat at AFL level.
Yep.
So that's the scenario. Garcia, 109 Dream Team points. He kicked a goal and had 22 touches.
Where's he plays? And what's his?
I think
Can't say I know.
I reckon. Just looking. Just bear with me. He was on the interchange bench, but I believe he's a midfielder.
Oh, yes, yep.
Or a half back even. So, but there's just a few of the guys that have been doing a little bit, so that's something to bear in mind. Yeah, and so it's not all doom and gloom. So hopefully we have a win. So what day of the round are we playing? I haven't even looked.
Is it Sunday, I think?
Let's just get onto it and have a look. I haven't looked that far ahead myself. And we are on the Sunday, and we're at 3:20, and we're at the Norwood Oval. So it's a Richmond home game, so we don't lose a home game this year for the gather round, which is good for all the Saints supporters. Yeah.
Indeed.
And as you said, Richmond will be down a few players. We should gain at least King. But it's making me think or believe that a lot of the other teams are starting to work on the theory that Marshall is a superstar as he is, that if we've only got him as the only recognised ruckman, it is a weak link for us in the second half of football. And I think Essendon in particular demonstrated that by playing 2 rucks. So they Draper and they would have had the ex-North Melbourne chap.
Goldstein, Goldstein.
Yeah. Yep, and they would have probably struggled in the first half, but then as the game went on, came into it.
Definitely. Yep. Yeah, it's just too hard on poor old Big Row, eh? It's hopefully they can sort something out with that, and I think we can beat Richmond. I know they just beat the Swans and stuff, but they, like I say, they got a couple of big outs. We've got a big in already with Maxi coming in, so I think we'll get the job done.
Hopefully we will.
And get the supporters back on track.
Yes. And just remember, supporters, let's support, not ridicule. But anyway, we'll get ridiculed for saying that, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, anyway, the main thing is to get to us on Facebook, which is the Over the Ditch Sainers. Like the page, follow us. Also on YouTube, Over the Ditch Sainers YouTube channel. Subscribe to that, please. More subscriptions, the bigger it spreads.
And if you don't mind, if you like it, don't worry. Just share it on, so other people can see it, so we can get more subscriptions and more people liking our Facebook page.
100%, 100%, mate. And we want to make it a positive space for people to comment and whatnot. Also, too, I've been in contact with our producer, Josh, who's ready to put this episode together overnight. So we should hopefully be on board on YouTube as of Tuesday morning. This is Monday evening.
Big thank you to Josh, too, for all his hard work he does.
Certainly does. Does a lot of hard
And,
work.
Indeed. Does a great job. And don't forget to get some questions through to Sammy.
Yeah.
100%.
No such thing as a silly question.
No, that's true. That's very true. And you could even ask him who should be or who has been the best number one St Kilda supporter, celebrity wise. And my vote is definitely going for the lovely Elle McPherson, and I'm sure Danny's in agreement with that one.
Yeah, she's not in it. She wasn't too hard to look at, was she?
No, and even at 60-ish now, she's easier on the eye than what Ed Sheeran is in a St Kilda jumper.
Indeed.
So, guys, your usual catchphrase at the end of an episode.
Yeah, so, we'll go a couple of them. We say, wherever you're watching the game at Norwood on Sunday, sink a few beers.
And put in a few cheers.
And
what are you saying?
Up the Mighty Sailors!
Up the Mighty Sailors!
And we're done. See you next week.